My name is Reverend Ryan Adams. I'm a pagan minister with Sacred Well Congregation International and a member of the Sacred Well Board. You're watching the Sacred Well YouTube project, an effort at outreach to our fellow pagans who may be unable to meet with each other for fellowship or learning. The purpose of these videos is to be informative. They should discuss topics of interest to pagans today. Some of them will take the forms of guided meditation, some of them will be lecture, some of them will be prayer or pathworking, and some of them will be demonstrated ritual. Today, I want to talk about a daily devotional practice. Now, a common observation bordering on criticism that's often raised against members of modern pagan spiritual paths is that we aren't really engaging in religion. We're not worshiping anything because we don't worship. We work with. I think that misses a point. Most pagan religions are what we call orthopraxic, not orthodoxic. They care about correct practice, not correct belief. But nothing is baked into that distinction, which means we cannot give due cause and devotion to gods, goddesses, spirits, or the divine spark which animates all things. A lot of attention gets paid towards the idea of a regular magical practice. You have people who begin every day with the sun salutation, the lesser banishing ritual, the pentagram. That's looked upon as, occult discipline. But I would like to suggest that taking time to turn your mind towards the sacred, to connect with the divine principle, is a worthwhile endeavor. It doesn't have to be elaborate, and it doesn't have to be time-consuming. So with this in mind, I'm going to demonstrate one of my devotional practices. This is something that I do generally on a daily basis. I like to do this right before I go to bed, which is in the morning because I work at night, but the point holds true. I do this daily. What I do is I go to my altar, which is not this, though many of these items come from my altar, and I take a moment to ground myself towards the elements of the world. And the elemental model that I use is the classical Western model of earth, air, fire, and water. And then I give reverence towards a goddess. Like I said, it doesn't take a long time. I'm generally standing when I do this because the altar that I work at is in a bookcase about, say, 4 feet off the ground. I'm going to do this sitting just because I am not good at manipulating a camera. But it goes like this. I'm going to lay it out and then I'm going to go through it. So I come to my altar. My altar has representations of the elements. It has them in the form of altar coins, which have representations of a working tool, names of the winds associated with the directions, principles from the witch's pyramid, to know, to will, to dare, to remain silent. It has representations of the elements. I have a candle that I light for fire. I have water for water. I have salt and stone for earth. I normally have incense for air. However, I do have a co-conspirator in the room with me right now whose lungs I'm trying to protect, so incense is on hold for this demonstration. I take a moment to ground myself in the elements, and I do this by intentionally interacting with them. So I light the candle, I light the incense, I take a pinch of salt, and I add it to the water. Once that's done, I take an oil. I like sandalwood. I take the oil, and I use it to anoint the representation of the goddess that I'm using. In this case, I primarily work with lunar deities, so I have a female figure standing in front of a crescent moon. And so I anoint the statue with the oil. And when I anoint the statue with the oil, I close my eyes and I let my thumb trace its way over the statue. And as my thumb moves over the statue, my mind follows. And it traces the contours of my belief and the contours of my experience. I place the statue back. And then I adopt a body position. Now, I always use this body position when I'm interacting with a goddess. Partly it was how I was taught, but over many years, the mind leads the body and the body leads the mind. When I adopt the position with my body, my mind bends in that direction and my spirit follows. I stand in front of the statue, I adopt the position, I close my eyes, I breathe. I use a simple 4-breath process. I breathe in for 4, I hold for 4, I breathe out for 4. I do that 4 times. And when I feel like I've centered myself, I take my hands, I place them together in the shape of a triangle. Because this is the common hand position we use when drawing energy towards ourselves, drawing attention towards ourselves. I'm in front of the goddess statue, and then I say the words. These are very common words. You'll find them all kinds of places online. You'll find them in many of the books that were published about Wicca and Wiccan style witchcraft. They're not secret words, but they're effective words. So I call out, "Hail, Aradia, from the Amalthean horn, pour forth thy store of love. Lowly I come before thee, I adore thee to the end, and with loving sacrifice thy shrine adorn. Thy foot is to my lips, my prayer is upborne upon the rising incense smoke. Release thine ancient love, O mighty one. Descend to aid me, who without thee am lost, lonely, and forlorn." I bring my hands up, wafting the incense smoke towards me, my thumb still covered in the oil that I use to anoint. And I bring my hands down, and I stand there, and I find that center, and I exist in that moment. And then get a glass of water and go to bed. But it's the regularity of the practice. It's the building of relationship. Because our spirituality, our religion, is not something that happens once a week in a building. The world is sacred, and we are in the world and of the world. So we carry this with us all the time. And so it behooves us to devote attention towards the relationships that we've established, that we wish to maintain, outside of a ritual space, outside of a circle, outside of a pagan night out, or a convention, or a retreat, to make the process part of our, to slip into my medical world, our activities of daily living. So, thank you. I had a script I was going to read at the end, but my laptop went to sleep. Thank you for sharing a little bit of my devotional practice. In the comments below this video, if you have a form of regular devotion, be it daily, weekly, monthly, that you engage in, I'd love to hear about it, and I'm sure other people would do nothing but gain from hearing about the ways that you engage with your spirituality. Again, Reverend Ryan Adams of Sacred Well Congregation. This has been the Sacred Well YouTube project. You can find out more about the Sacred Well congregation and the work that we do online at sacredwell.org. There should be links to some helpful websites and resources in the description of this video, including a couple books that I think are very beneficial. I'm going to name check one right now because it's out of print and a little hard to find. It's called Devoted to You, Honoring Deity and Wiccan Practice by High Priestess Judy Harrow. So I'm going to go ahead and let you go, and you have a great day.